I've been interested in Pokemon since I was 3 years old, and now, 25 years later, I've used it to teach myself 3 languages. Now, that was never the goal, but in this video, I'll share all of the ways that Pokemon has helped me in my language learning journey. If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Nick. I've been studying Portuguese for 7 years. I'm currently learning French as my 4th language, and I hope to move on to a 5th by the end of the year. I played my first Pokemon game back when I was in 3rd grade on one of these. And the game was this one. It's called Fire Red. Back when I started to play, I was so young I couldn't find my way to progress in the game, both because of the sheer size of the game, but also because I didn't know enough English. If you have any experience with Pokemon games at all, you would know that one of the things that you do in almost every game is to run around collecting badges by beating gym leaders. This shows you just how much I was lacking, because I found a door where I needed one of these badges that was called the Builder badge. And I thought that was the same as Blackboard. So when I found that in the neighboring town, I then tried to see if I could bring that Blackboard with me. I went back to check to see if I had gotten it. I did eventually manage to figure out where I was supposed to go, and after that I was off. Of course, I was still learning a lot in school at that time, but to say that Pokemon taught me a lot is a massive understatement. When I was 11, I discovered a website where I could watch Pokemon for free online. Of course, it did give me extensive listening practice in English. Through hours of watching episodes, I was able to improve my comprehension, and I was able to learn natural pronunciation. The best part is that it wasn't even something that I considered studying. I was, and still am, incredibly interested in Pokemon, and I merely wanted to sink more hours into my passion. The English acquisition that I got was something that I only realized was occurring way later. This is my main goal with the way that I teach my students as well. I have them do activities that they would really like to be doing, even if they weren't learning a language. They just happen to be doing activities that will also lead them to acquiring a language as well. I've now talked about acquiring a language, and this is different from how most people learn a language. If you acquire a language, the process is happening without you being aware of it. You're gradually understanding more of the content that you're exposed to as your understanding develops. All of this happens without you really having to be aware of it. And if you really think this sounds like something that is just made up, then you'd probably be surprised that you've done this yourself. Now, this is actually how babies learn their first language. They don't have to sit through grammar lessons and memorize vocabulary to speak their mother tongue. The way that they start being able to use the language is just through comprehensible input. They start understanding gradually by learning how to use a few words every week. You might think that you don't have the ability anymore, but if you just find content that is at a level where you can understand most of it, then you're going to be learning a lot without ever having to sit down with a grammar book. The website that I found also featured a chat function, which opened up opportunities for written communication, and I used this to trade Pokemon with people from around the world while completing the Pokédex. By age 11, Pokemon had provided me with all the tools I needed to develop my English skills. From reading the game text to chatting with other players and getting my listening practice in through the episodes that I was watching. I was 22 years old when I used Pokemon to learn another language. That was Portuguese. I was looking for easy content that I would actually find engaging, and so I watched about 200 episodes of Pokemon in Portuguese, and it was probably the most rapid development of my listening comprehension that I have gone through to this point. I had days where I watched 20 episodes in one day, which is about 7 hours of listening practice. Now I'm using it to learn French as well. I'm currently doing a playthrough of a randomized Pokemon game that I stream every Sunday here on YouTube, and it's been an amazing way to use something that I found fun to also learn. The game is also a lot more heavy on dialogue than what Fire Red was
Why?
all these years ago. It's actually another version of this game, which has a lot more story. It was also made for the DS, so it runs a bit smoother. The game is one that I'm already familiar with, but with the randomization and the fact that Pokemon have different names in French than what I'm used to, with the 3 languages that I already speak, where they all use the same English names. Since this game is randomized, I then end up in a lot of weird and extra challenging situations. But the French knowledge is also really important in all this, because there are so many choices all the time depending on what items you have available to you, and you have to make the best decision you can based on what you have available. Sadly, not every language is going to be as effective to study with Pokemon. It all depends on how much content has been translated into your target language. If I was to, for instance, learn Greek with Pokemon, I wouldn't be able to play any of the games as they haven't been translated to Greek. I don't think I've even seen Greek script available on any Nintendo console, so I doubt it would even be possible. There are probably a bunch of dubbed episodes available, but I can tell just by going to Pokemon TV, which is the YouTube channel where Pokemon are currently in the process of posting every single episode of the series, that it isn't going to be that easy finding them. You see, all of these episodes, even the compilations that they post for some reason, is available in multiple languages. You just change the setting in the video like this. Ignore the fact that my YouTube is set to Norwegian. It's supposed to say audio track. High resolution video is almost exclusively available on YouTube. And back when I studied Portuguese with Pokemon, I struggled my way through the long list of sites that had pirated the episodes and were hosting them for free. These videos were almost never in any higher resolution than 480p, and that is not a pleasant viewing experience when your eyes are used to 1080 and higher. It doesn't have to be Pokemon though. This video does show you how you can use one massive interest to learn another language. If you're interested enough in, for instance, football, and you wanted to learn Spanish, then I'm sure you'd be able to find a lot of content for that. And if you want help in setting up your own language learning program, then find my link in the description and we'll set you up with something that fit your own interests while also considering your busy schedule. Of course, as you improve your listening comprehension, the amount that you're learning is going to be reduced. But for me, the solution is going to be to simply speed up the videos. It sounds crazy, but it doesn't take away from my enjoyment. If anything, I enjoy it more because I know that I'm still getting the same learning benefits. I have a video talking about tricks that I use to speed up my language learning. So if you're interested in some of the other strategies that I mentioned in that video, then it's going to be linked below in the description for you to find it. If you're planning to use Pokemon to learn a language, then you should really consider the Pokemon manga as well. It does not follow the original plotline of the series that you've seen on TV, but it is so incredibly good. I've only read through the Kanto series so far, but I'm planning to read through the Johto series as well, provided that I can find it in the next language that I'm going to be learning. Mangas are the best books for beginners to read when they're starting to read in another language. While the Pokemon manga isn't my personal choice for the first book to read in any language, it is still really effective for teaching you the things that you need to start reading normal books. If you'd like to see what manga I would personally start with, and what types of books that I would go on to read afterwards, then watch this video next.